and that means that defence spending is going to come on track by 2027, and then a sustained year-on-year increase. And I want that to be something which is really significant towards the defence and security of our country, much needed at the moment, but I also want it to be measured in jobs and businesses and skills in this country and in places like this, because this is a real obligation and duty. The first duty of the Prime Minister is to keep the country safe, and I take that duty really seriously, but it's also a great opportunity, because this is going to require more of the skills and talents that you have as we go forward. So thank you for what you are doing. Feel proud of what you're doing, because I do, and you should. But also, we're going to be calling on you to step up as we all step up, going into the next stage of our history. So thank you so much for having me here. Thank you so much for showing me what you're doing. It's great to see the ferry here. I think the first one in 60 years. And I can't believe that it's going to be ready for probably early next year, did you say? Yeah. To be going out and to just come and get a sense of it, of the scale and the skill of what you're doing is really, really incredible. So thank you very much for that. I'm now going to take some questions. Please exercise your right to ask me questions. This isn't a great privilege that I'm affording you. I'm your Prime Minister. I'm here to serve you. You're entitled to tell me what you think. And I want you to do that, because we're here as a government to serve you, and that means your views matter to me. We've got Ali McGovern here, who's the Minister for Employment and also the local constituency MP. So in addition to any questions you've got for me, if you've got any issues beyond that or about the constituency, Ali is going to be here to take those questions as well. So please, if you've got anybody who wants to kick... And by the way, ask me about what you're doing here, ask me about defence, but ask me about something else if you want. You're perfectly entitled to ask me anything you like, so please do. Apart from football, I'm a big Arsenal supporter, Ali is a big Liverpool supporter. What was it last night? 27 shots, Paris Saint-Germain, and then 2 from Liverpool. Fantastic goalkeeping and a very, very good result if you're a Liverpool fan. But as an Arsenal fan, there's a bit of rivalry going on in relation to this. But who wants to crack in first? Yeah, I will. Got one? Yep. Please.
Hi, Keir. Thanks for coming to see us today. My question is, Camel Air is proud to employ a lot of females in this industry. So we're wondering what the government's plans are to sort of reinforce that and make sure more females will work in this industry going forward.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of women in the workforce here, I can see just by looking around. And I think that reinforces the point that I would make, which is these are jobs where we should encourage women to come and work, and where we should have aspiration for everybody to come and work. And I think, in a sense, my words are important on this, but what you're doing is equally important on this. And I hope that all of you are able to spend at least some time going into schools and colleges and telling young girls what you're doing, because I think there will be quite a lot of young girls who wouldn't necessarily think this is the sort of job I might want to go into. And if they see you, or even better, come and bring them here and show them what you're doing. And that's a wider thing I was talking to apprentices about this morning. I'm a big believer in apprentices, and I know you're massively oversubscribed. I think 800 apprentices every year for the 50 that get through. So every apprentice here has already got through a 1 in 16 chance and done brilliantly well. But go out and tell that story, because lots of young people, if they came in and saw what you're doing here, if they got a sense of the scale and the skill, I think they'd say, I want a bit of that. So let's go and tell that story. Great. Anyone else with a question? Yeah, please.
Hi, Keir.
Hi,
we met this morning when you were at the Mersey Ferry and you spoke with the apprentices, and I asked the question, and I think it's important to reiterate and ask again. Obviously, we're going to have 200 apprentices here come September, multi-trade. What is your party going to do to support this scheme?
Well, I'm a big supporter of apprentices. I think it's really important, and a lot of people have heard this before, but it is important for me to say it, because my dad was a toolmaker. He worked in a factory, and that isn't just something I want to say as a politician. I actually love being in an environment like this. This is what I grew up with, and my dad was an apprentice. He learned his craft, his trade and his skill as an apprentice. So for me, that's what I grew up knowing. I think in some respects it is brilliant to go off to university. I was the first in my family to do so. But we don't make enough of apprenticeships, which I think should be given absolutely equal weighting with going off to university. So I want to put massive support behind apprenticeships. I want to make it easier for people to get on to start their apprenticeships, because sometimes people arrive for apprenticeships, they haven't got quite the right qualifications when they were 15, 16, they didn't get it completely right. I want to open that gateway back up, give people the chance, because you will have seen this, people just developing as apprenticeships through the 3 or 4 years, whatever it may be, to become highly skilled, fantastic workers, and we must support that as we go forward. So I want to give every support to apprenticeships. I really believe in them, and I think there's a mindset shift for the country here, which is, yes, university good, but apprenticeship good as well, and let's start weighing them equally. And that's why I'm very keen for all of you to get back into schools and tell that message, because sometimes in schools there's a slight tilt that, you know, it's off to university, not enough emphasis, I don't think, on going in, getting a skill, getting paid as well, and the security, and making a contribution, because all the apprentices here are making a contribution to this business, to this sector, but also to your country. I can't, overemphasise, at a time like this, what you do for your country really, really matters. So thank you for your question. Anyone? I'm sorry I've got my back to certain people, but if there are any questions behind, I'll try to look behind from time to time. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. In light of the recent change in commitment from the United States to Ukraine, what do you envisage the UK's military support to Ukraine looking like?
Well, on Ukraine, obviously, it's really important that we focus on what matters most. And what matters most, in my view, is a lasting peace that ensures that Ukraine is both sovereign, able to make their own decisions, and secure, so in a position where we don't just stop the fighting for it to start again in a year or 2 or 3. For that to happen, obviously, it's important that we are all focused on that, and it is important that if there is a deal, and we don't know there will be, that we defend the deal. And that means that we need to think about what's the guarantee, what's the security guarantee. And what I've said is, I think Europe needs to step up into this space. We've said for a long time that Europe needs to do more on its own security and defence. I think that's right. And the United Kingdom will play a leading part, because we've always stepped up when it's required. So that's why I've made that commitment on behalf of our country. It has to be done in conjunction with the United States, because we have for many decades worked very closely with the United States. You will know through the work you do that our defence, our security, our intelligence is intertwined. No 2 other countries are as close when it comes to defence and security as our 2 countries. So we want to do this in conjunction with the United States, because it's that ability to work with the United States and with our European partners that has kept the peace for 80 years now. That's why it's important we step up into this space. I would say 2 other things which are of relevance to you. I think in the meantime, we need to put Ukraine in the strongest possible position. We don't know there's going to be a deal. The fighting is going on, and it's a big mistake to think, well, all we've got to do is wait for a deal now. We've got to make sure that if they are fighting on, they're in the strongest position, and even if they go into negotiation, they're in the strongest position. The other thing that I do think is relevant for you, it's a broader picture. I do think Europe needs to step up on security and defence more broadly. And I want to win contracts for you and others as that happens, because as the whole of Europe steps up, and I do think it will, that means it's not just the demands, as it were, of our government, it's other governments as well will be looking around to see, well, where can we place our orders for the capability we need? And I know we're good enough, we're leading enough in this country to say you should be putting your orders with us. So I'm envisaging a period, and I hope for a period, where there'll be even more work coming down the track for you, and you may need to increase the number of apprentices from whatever, it's 50 a year, isn't it? I think.
50 a year.
Yeah, yeah. Right, anywhere else? Anywhere to the sides or behind? Got a question? Sorry, where are we?
Over here.
Apologies.
Hi, you just touched on it a little bit then. Investment in the UK shipbuilding is key if we are to compete on the world stage. Do you see shipbuilding as a priority, and what are you going to do about it?
I think as we go forward with defence and security, we're going to have to press forward on sea, on air, on land. If you look at the Ukraine conflict, it's clear that maritime, what we're doing at sea, has been a huge part of that. And therefore, as we go through our strategic review, as we look at what does the next chapter of our history hold, it's clear that maritime shipbuilding is going to have to be a big part of that. That's on the defence and security side. Obviously, on the civilian side, there's work to do as well. I'm really pleased this ferry is being built here. There are other ferries that should be built here and aren't being built here, in my view, and we need to make sure that that comes to our shipyards, to businesses like this. We are really good at what we do in Britain. We don't sell ourselves enough, in my view. We should be a bit more out there saying we've got the skills, we've got the people, we've got the ability, let's get on and make sure that we're winning the orders because we're really good at this. And it'll be a very proud time when this ferry goes out early next year. It'll be a real moment, I think.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to it.
Be a big bit of history. Good. I think I'm just going to step forward now and do a bit of media. But unless you've got to go, I'd like to come back and just have a chat with some of you. But, I mean, don't feel you've got to stay if you don't want to or you've got other stuff to do. But I'm going to come back and try and find some of you if I can. But I'll just go do a bit of media if you don't mind first. Yep. Thanks. George, where am I coming?
Level?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, that's the microphone. That works.
all done, so yeah. Also different because
What a sacrifice. It's a pair of defects.
yeah, between friends there. Mine and that, but anyway, so, yeah. Should get the I've used them before.